to the
Ronald and Ronald podcast. How y'all doing today?
Good.
How was Christmas?
Great.
New Year's?
Great.
Ronald's birthday?
Yeah.
All those things happen?
Yeah.
What happens today?
We both have basketball games.
Basketball games. How you doing back here, Sean?
I have one at 1:30.
Bree has one at 1:30. It's 11:54 right now. We're about to do our football picks for the last games of the season, last regular season game. Ronald is leading the Ronald and Ronald podcast with 133 wins. I have 128. Bree is right behind me, 127. Sean's at 111. Once again, we've said it all year. Sean missed a week. That's the reason he's so far behind. How you doing today, Sean? Everything good? You ready to do the podcast?
Daddy. My cup's always not working when drinking it.
Okay. Sean's cup isn't working. We will be working on that, trying to fix that while we're doing the podcast. I hear water going in.
I keep stopping.
Oh, okay. So here we go.
Okay.
Now Bree is working on it.
Why'd you put it straight up you?
Just drink it out of there, buddy. So now he's
What
drinking
time
his
is your
water.
game, sir?
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock game. Both of them first game of the season. See how it goes. They haven't had practice in a while because they had winter break. But they both start their season today. Y'all excited?
Yeah.
Y'all nervous?
Yeah.
Ron said, what? You gonna cook? Bree, you gonna cook?
Yeah, I
Bree,
hope so.
Bree's planning on cooking. All right, so we got this week. We got Ronald, Bree, Sean, me. We have Tasha, Tati, Tally, and Wendell.
Not as many.
Not as many this week, but we're gonna rock with what we got. We're gonna see who gets the most wins right here. The last win of the season coming for somebody. Are y'all ready?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. First game. 2 of these games are today. You got Cleveland versus Baltimore. Ronald.
Baltimore.
Ronald says Baltimore. Bree.
Baltimore.
Sean. Cleveland or Baltimore?
Baltimore.
Baltimore for everybody there. I'm looking at the paper and everyone.
Says Baltimore.
Everyone says Baltimore. That's correct. Okay, next game, Bree. We got Cincinnati versus
Pittsburgh Steelers.
the Pittsburgh Steelers. Who do you have, Bree?
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Bree has Pittsburgh. Ronald?
Pittsburgh.
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 Sean also says Pittsburgh. I say Cincinnati. Tasha says Pittsburgh. Tati says Pittsburgh. Tally says Cincinnati. And Wendell says Pittsburgh. Our unofficial sponsor.
Per milling on Jemima.
It ain't your
Syrup.
mama syrup anymore. It's Pearl Milling, but there it is. Our
Syrup.
unofficial
Syrup.
sponsor. Sean's having his waffle sausage as we speak. All right. So those are your Saturday games. Sunday, we got Carolina versus Atlanta. Falcons. Ronald.
I got Carolina.
Ronald's got Carolina. Bree.
Atlanta.
Atlanta. Sean. Panthers or Falcons? Panthers. All right. I got Atlanta. Tasha, Tati, Tally, and Wendell also have Atlanta. Here's the video game setup that they have right now. As you can see, they got the hookup. They got 3 TVs in this one room. They got cinnamon. They got the switch. They got everything. Bree said it's almost time for a game. She plays at 1:30, and it's now 11:57. Okay, next game. We got the Washington Commanders. We're going to the playoffs. Already clinched their playoff spot. What y'all think about the playoffs for the Commanders?
We're gonna destroy everyone.
We're going to destroy everyone. What do you say, Sean? Cowboys or Commanders?
Commander.
Sean says Commanders. Bree?
We're defeating the Cowboys. Commanders.
Commanders. Ronald?
Commander.
All right. I say Commanders. Wendell says Commanders. Tally says Commanders. Tati says Commanders. Tasha says Cowboys. We'll see how that goes. Next game, we got the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers. Ronald.
Green Bay.
Sean.
Green Bay.
Green Bay. Bree.
Green Bay. Green Bay. Green Bay.
Bree also says Green Bay. Everyone except for Wendell says
Houston.
Green Bay. He says Chicago. All right, so our next game is right here.
Houston versus Tennessee.
Houston
Daddy,
versus.
We're gonna win.
Yeah, we are. Houston versus Tennessee, Sean. Who? Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Tennessee. Tennessee, he says. Sean says Tennessee. Ronald?
Houston.
Bree?
Tennessee.
Bree says Tennessee. I say Tennessee. So does Wendell. Tally, Tati, and Tasha all say
Houston Texans.
Houston Texans. Who's our next game? Next game is Jacksonville
Jaguars and Indianapolis Colts.
Indianapolis Colts or the Jacksonville McGill Jaguars. What do you say, Ron?
I say the Jacksonville McGill.
Ron says Jacksonville McGill Jaguars. Who do you say, Jacksonville or Indianapolis, Sean? John says Jacksonville, Bree.
Indianapolis.
Indianapolis for Bree. I say Indianapolis. Colts. Then you got Tasha saying Jacksonville. Tati saying Colts. Tally saying Colts. And Wendell saying Jacksonville. Next game is the New England Patriots and the Buffalo Bills. Who do you say? Bree.
New England.
Bree says New England. She's gone New England every week this season.
Actually,
But they haven't got to get the Commanders, right?
Nah. Then Ronald, New England or Jacksonville? I mean, New England or Buffalo? I said Jacksonville.
Buffalo.
Buffalo for Ronald. Sean, New England Patriots or Buffalo Bills? Sean also says Buffalo. I'm going with Bree this week with New England. And then everybody else. Look, the pen flew over here. Everyone else says Buffalo. Tasha, Tally, Tati, and Wendell. All right, our next game is
Philly versus New York Giants.
the New York Giants and the Philadelphia Eagles. Ronald.
I pick Philly.
Ronald picks Philly. Bree.
Philly.
Sean, Philly or New York Giants?
Philly.
Sean says Philly. I also say Philly. And everyone says
Philly.
Philly.
Now
Now we're going to win again. All right. Next game is New Orleans Saints versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Ronald, you saying Saints or Bucks?
The Bucks.
The Bucks, says Ronald. Sean, Tampa Bay or New Orleans? Sean says New Orleans. Bree?
New Orleans Saints.
Bree says New Orleans Saints. I say Tampa Bay. Tasha says New Orleans. Tati says New Orleans. Tally and Wendell say Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
All right, Kansas City Chiefs or Denver Broncos?
Kansas City.
Bree says Kansas City. Sean? Kansas City or
Denver Broncos.
Denver Broncos?
Denver Broncos. Huh?
Sean's going Denver Broncos. You're going against Patrick Mahomes?
Stand Patrick Mahomes.
Ronald, Denver Broncos or...
I've been too much.
You've been doing too much? He said he's been doing too much Patrick Mahomes. What What do you say, Ronald? Denver or Kansas City?
I say Pat.
He says Pat. All right. I got Kansas City. Tasha's got Kansas City. So does Tally and Tot and Wendell. All right.
LA Chargers
Uh-huh.
versus the
Las
the
Vegas.
Vegas Raiders.
So you got LA Chargers, Las Vegas Raiders. Ronald.
I just say Chargers.
Ronald says Chargers. Bree.
Las Vegas Raiders.
Bree says Las Vegas.
Las Vegas.
Sean, Las Vegas Raiders or Los Angeles Chargers?
Chargers.
Los Angeles Chargers for Sean. I got Vegas. Tasha's got Chargers. Tati's got Vegas. Tally's got Chargers. And Wendell has Chargers. Here we go.
Seattle Seahawks. Los Angeles Rams.
Los Angeles Rams against the Seattle Seahawks. Who do you say, Sean?
Seahawks.
Sean says Seahawks. Ronald?
I pick the Seahawks.
Ronald says Seahawks. Bree?
Rams.
Bree says Rams. I also say Rams. Tasha and Tati say Seahawks. Tally and Wendell say Rams. Shawnee, you ready for the next game? Who we got, Bree?
Miami Dolphins. New York Jets.
Miami Dolphins and the New York Jets. Who do you say, Shawnee?
Jets.
Sean says New York Jets. All right. Ronald?
I say the Dolphins.
Ronald says the Dolphins. Bree?
Dolphins.
Bree
Cinnamon.
says Dolphins.
Hey.
Okay, I say Dolphins. Cinnamon's over here barking. I say Dolphins. Tasha says Dolphins. Tati says Jets. Tally says Dolphins. Wendell says Dolphins. All right, next game.
San Francisco 49ers versus the Arizona Cardinals.
Okay. Ronald, Cardinals or 49ers?
49ers.
Ronald says 49ers. Bree?
49ers.
Bree says 49ers. Sean, 49ers or Cardinals?
Cardinals.
Sean says Cardinals. I say San Fran. Tasha says San Fran. Tati says Arizona. Tally says San Fran. Wendell says Arizona. Last game of the year. The Minnesota Vikings versus
Detroit Lions.
Detroit Lions. Who do you say? Ronald.
I'm going with the Lions.
Ronald says Detroit. Sean, who do you
Sorry,
say?
Justin Jefferson.
Detroit or Minnesota? Ronald's going against his boy Justin Jefferson for the very first time. Look at Bree's face. She is not happy.
What's right?
You want Detroit or Minnesota? Detroit Lions or Minnesota Vikings?
Minnesota.
Sean's going with Minnesota. Bree, it's on you.
I got Minnesota.
Bree's going Minnesota. I'm also going Minnesota. Auntie's going Detroit. Tati's going.
Minnesota. Tally's going Minnesota. And Uncle and Dad's going Minnesota.
All right, Wendell has 62 points. Tally has 58. Tati has 45. Auntie has 47. I have 49. How many points do you say, Ronald?
I say
It's Detroit and Minnesota. How many points?
55.
55. Ronald says 55. Bree?
48.
Bree says 48. Sean, how many points?
1,000.
And
Oh,
Sean's
that'd be
coming in
awesome.
with 1,000 points.
That would be
If-
awesome.
We would love to see Detroit and Minnesota score 1,000 points this week. All right, so there's our football picks. Anything else? I got second place in my fantasy football this year. I lost in the Super Bowl. Stinking Brock Purdy went off on Monday night and took me out, but that's okay. Congratulations to Grim of our fantasy football league for winning the Super Bowl. Anything else y'all like to say?
Thank you for stopping by the
Ronald and Ronald